Hey, I'm under the what do you call it? The big beams of light again? You know these what do you call those things, Sue?
It's called a skylight.
The skylight. I'm in the skylight of my prime. Anyway, welcome aboard, everybody. Cheryl's here. James is here. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate it. Blake's going to take off. Going to take off, eh? When are you going to take off? When are you taking off?
I just have to be done by 12:55 today.
Okay, 12:55. Yeah. So it's practically full show.
We got an hour. Yeah,
and we start in early, so it's all going to be really good. And I'm so glad Blake's here. A lot of stuff going on. The big story today, of course, Prince, or now King Charles, has arrived in Canada to give what's termed a throne speech. Blake, thoughts, feelings, what's a throne speech? Of course, the whole thing to me is so moribund. Some tart in a lake, some, what do they call it? Some waterlogged tart with a sword, says your king, and this is going to be it. But anyway, go ahead. Tell us what your thoughts are. Charles' speech. What did he say, and where are we at? What's going on?
He had me at land acknowledgement.
Oh, did he do the land acknowledgement?
Right at the beginning. Yep. Holy he did the land acknowledgement, which opened up an entire can of worms for me, because all I would like to say to Carney and the elbows up crowd liberals, then if that's just the case, what government do we serve? Because you're saying we shouldn't exist here.
Yes.
You're saying that we are on unceded territories, King Charles. These are supposed to be your crown lands, and you're saying they're unceded. So if these are unceded territories, then who do we serve as a government? Yeah. So right at the beginning.
I mute it there. Sorry, we just got him. I don't want to hear him talk or anything. He's an asshole. Just mute him. Yeah. But I'll just make this big so we know we're all on the same, kids know what's going on. King Charles reads the speech from the throne. Here's the first 5 minutes. I look at the Indians in there. What the fuck? And, full disclosure, I'm Native as well. But, just the whole thing is saying, it's sending a message, right?
They weren't happy with the speech anyway.
The natives weren't happy?
No.
What the hell weren't they happy with? Wait, didn't we give them enough at the...
They weren't included enough.
They weren't included enough. Oh, shit. This is identity politics. It's the fragmentation. It's us, and them. If you're Native, and I fucking am, by the way, before you start sending me nasty emails, I'm Cree Native. I'm Dene. I got Kiowa. My great-greats were Kiowa. Indians are Kiowa. And, of course, they're down in Oklahoma now. I'm a Coeur d'Alene tribe, Ojibwe. Hi. So I'm all over the place here with a lot of Native history. I got cousins on reservations, the whole shebang, man. But I'm saying this kind of pandering is not helping the First Nations people in Canada at all. Native Americans not helping. Anyway, Mike Sweeney, we love you, Mike. Good to see you. So, so it's not that I'm against the Natives. I love you. I'm one of them. I'm just telling you that this kind of pandering is just horrific.
It seems to me that there doesn't seem to be an intent to unite. It's this constant division. And if it's supposed to be a unification speech, it's just dividing people further. I mean, this is what they do. Now we have, the head of England, the head of state for Canada, which technically is the king.
Yeah.
The governor general is the king's representative.
Yeah.
So he's basically capitulating that Canada, sorry, I don't know. He talks about our great nation. What nation? What nation is this? Because you just said it's unceded territory. So are you saying we're what? We're like the Palestinians?
We're squatters. Yeah, we're the Palestinians squatting.
Well, and what's the plan here? Your Euro crowd, your EU wants to continue to divide us. So does China. I still don't get Carney, but I did read that there was some staffer within the government that, of course, wrote this for Charles. I'm sure Charles had his own speech people from England that kind of were reviewing what he would be able to say.
Well, yeah. And I think the Liberals kind of wrote it out. Somebody, one of the pundits said, basically, what is he doing? He's just reading off the Liberal talking points that they've been sprouting off for the last few years. So it's just like he's a puppet to the liberal government, which is kind of goofy. You know,
I don't like the neocon aspect of it. The speech, about the fact that Canada is going to be more involved now with the European defense plan. That is terrifying. I do not want to see Canadians dying in Ukraine because the EU neocons want to have a bloodbath on their border so that their defense industry can siphon trillions of dollars out of us.
Yeah, we talked yesterday. Yeah, we talked yesterday about the attack on Putin's helicopter with all these drones, and then Putin predictably ramped things up, much to the chagrin. What a great word! The chagrin of President Trump, who said he's lost his mind. But Putin, for his part, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's pissed off they tried to take him out. And so he's hitting them with force along the eastern border. And holy smokes, they took like 26 square miles yesterday. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering about that war, there's a number of great channels on YouTube. Just go Ukraine-Russia war, put the search in. I watch Weeb Union. I watch a Military Summary channel. If you can remember those names, save this spot, run it over. Both of those are very good, kind of telling you what's going on with that war. But the stakes are high. Putin launched a whole bunch of attacks into Kiev in major cities, massive strikes. Ukraine is outgunned and outmatched in this war. Europe's there to kind of bolster it all, keep it going. But ultimately, unless you're going to put American boots on the ground and get your kids killed, this is not going to be a good win for the Ukraine. Okay, they're outnumbered 10-1. It's just not going to happen. Russia's got more of everything, and that's just the math of it. Why they chose to grind and choose this style of warfare instead of carpet bombing massive planes flying over like SR-71 level and just carpet bomb the place into oblivion, it's not me. I'm not the military strategist. I will say this, military. So we go over there, watch it. This individual uses both Ukrainian and Russian maps in formulating the ground picture, what's kind of going on. Also talks a little bit about the logistics politically and everything. Great channel. Blake, if you're not subscribed, I highly encourage Military Summary channel for you if you have any interest in conflict at all. Okay, so Charles is there. Now, we've seen Carney do this, Blake, with the pushing. We're going to go to Europe. Yeah, we're not. We're redefining us with America, but we're reaching out towards Europe. How's Trump going to handle that? What's Trump going to do?
I mean, if I was to look at it as a negotiator, he's pulling a Trump. He's throwing well, I've got all this in our arsenal now. So we've got all these buddies around the world. They're willing to invest billions into Canada. I think it's ultimately going to come down to this. It's still the North American Union. That's kind of the direction I believe things are going to go. It has no choice.
Is it pragmatic? Is it pragmatic? And is it sustainable? I argue that it's not because of distance. We're on the American border.
Exactly.
Across the ocean.
But if they're thinking of converting Canada's auto manufacturing into building armored personnel vehicles and tanks to send to
World
Ukraine.
War II?
Well, that's exactly what the speech was. If you listen to him, Charles is pointing towards Dieppe and Normandy invasion, and he talks about Canada's contributions in the wars in Europe and leading peace, but it's all about war. If you actually listen, it's all centered around war, and the Euro powers love war, and they've been at it for a long time. It's where the power base is. It's where the global bankers are established. They just seem to love war and control everything out of Europe. And we have two competing Roman empires now. We have the United States and we have the EU. The EU struggles with unification just because they're trying to unify all kinds of tribal people, really, if you want to call it different nationalities, into a single country, and they don't get along. They don't agree.
History of that? How the hell does the history of that work out, Blake?
Yeah, well, we always know, look at Yugoslavia, it eventually blows up into sectarian and in violence at a very local level. We saw, anytime Europe gets involved to this level, when they're talking about amping up war, I'm thinking these guys are pounding the drums of war. The neocons in the US are completely powerless now for the most part because Trump has neutered them. And now you've got them pounding the drums and trying to force the rest of the world into these wars. What happened in Pakistan and India makes you wonder who would have said, hey, let's get close to a nuclear war in India and Pakistan. All in the last couple months. It's just like these flare-ups. I was listening to a few guys talk about it on some various podcasts saying exactly that. Like, who's behind doing this, like the drone attacks on Putin? Who's trying to keep the flames burning? And there's only the defense industries are behind it, the neocons are behind it, and of course, I think the global WF banker group that are still trying to fight for control against the MAGA movement. And the MAGA movement, let's look at what it is. It is a U.S. first, but it's also bringing back nationalism at a local level in various countries. It's a fight between internationalists versus nationalists, and the internationalists want to control it all and own it all. And King Charles, he's one of those guys. If you listen to what he says, he's one of those guys who thinks there's too many people in the world. He's the guy who thinks that, he's a convert to the extreme environmentalist beliefs. You know what? There's a lot of people. I mean, at least Queen Elizabeth was sane when she would speak, but Charles, I'm sorry, he is not. Well, he's another whack job. Makes me wonder what they got on him as well in the Epstein files. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got Andrew. They got Andrew.
I know exactly what you mean. So it doesn't seem like a logical or a rational viewpoint. And, one of our favorites, Blake, and by the way, before we go on, make sure everybody's giving a thumbs up on the show. We're new out of the gate. We got a lot to cover today in this hour program. Basically, we go half an hour. It seems what we are generally very comfortable making an hour show because there's so much going on, man. But one of our favorites, Sue, can you bring up Bono Vox? Young Bono Vox, the lead singer from U2, was on the Canadian program. You got to wonder, like rock and roll to me, man. And I've got this killer sound system. I got guitars all over. I got records there where I come out of the vinyl community, folks, if you're interested in some of that background. I love rock. I like rock. And so Bono shows up on some Canadian TV show. And you got to wonder, like you're saying, what have they got? What makes a rocker go so all in with the establishment? It seemed to start with Princess Di, the Princess of England, and she's at loving Elton John and all the rock royalty. And then they become sirs and lords, it's Sir Paul and Sir Ringo and Sir Mick, Jagger. What the fuck? I love Keith Jones saying, like, what? Keith Richards just said, I don't want anything to do with it. But anyway, because, it's like us and them. It's a betrayal of the class system on some level. And yet here you got these jokers, Bob Geldof's another one of these nut rings. Sir Bob. What the fuck?
Well, I think Bono, just before you play it, but I believe he's worth somewhere in the area of almost $1 billion or half a billion. You look at, but I'm going to say, I would like to take a look at his investment strategy. He's all in with these globalists. They've got his money invested in BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and buying up mass real estate. Just take a look, follow the money with these guys. That's what really controls them.
Yeah, I like that. Follow the money always. But I mean, just the ideology. And a lot of this shit is hidden, Blake. It feels like we're looking at icebergs, the top 10% we can see. Nobody knows what the hell's going on with the 90% we don't see with these people. Bono, U2 frontman, a.k.a. Paul David Hewson, while plugging his new documentary, sticks his nose in Canadian politics. And thank you for getting together, putting all your politics aside, not electing a populist. Walk away, sheep will follow, the old U2 song. Update bonus plug for Carney's book in 21 Values. Radical book and speaks out excessively as how to get everyone involved in solving our problems. And this is what we get: 50 Shades of People for 50 Shades of Green. Great leadership is not a bullhorn, but rather, as Mark Carney shows, a clear set of instructions in a smoke-filled room. All right, play Bono and make him big, Sue. Give him full screen on this mother. Okay, just read.
Stories of Surrender, which embraces innovation as it's the first Apple feature film to show immersive 180-degree video.
And now, in a Canadian exclusive, the legendary Bono joins us now.
It's the Caroline and Jeff show. Very proud to be on it.
We are very honored to have you, Bono. Thank you for joining us here in Canada.
So happy to be speaking to you, especially Canadians at this time in your political life, coming together, showing the world how to do it. It's I was always a fan of your mosaic, your culture, your
He's like winging it.
What's the word I would say? Your kind of reason, and but never more so than now. I'm grateful, and the whole world is in awe of what you've done. And thank you for getting together, putting all your politics aside, and not electing a populist, but actually a competence turns out to be the rarest thing on the planet these days. A numerate, thoughtful, intelligent leadership. So thank you.
I think we all remember as.
Okay, so a ringing endorsement for the global elites from some sort of rock and roll singer. Whatever happened to the fucking rebellion of rock and roll? These motherfuckers are so sold out. They sold their souls, and they didn't sell it for rock and roll. Bruce Springsteen comes to mind, a whole bunch of John Cooper, what's his scamp, all these mofos, absolutely freaking unbelievable.
You just have to remember Beavis and Butthead. boner.
I'm not so much in awe, and I have no idea what he's talking about. Well, the whole thing is that, like, when you strip down all the pretty language, you're looking. He's flowering praise, showering it over a globalist banker, a money typhoon.
Yeah.
So it's just absolutely fucking crazy.
Yeah, whatever happened to sticking it to the man, and we're fighting, don't trust anyone over 30, all that stuff out the window, because we're all wealthy now. We want our money protected, and we don't want the plebes to rise up in any shape or form to have any power to share with us anymore.
Well,
he has joined the ranks of that new aristocracy, the wealthy elite, the newer wealth that they're creating their feudalistic world. Whereas the Carney is not a guy who's going to be fighting for the rights of individuals, freedom to have a home, freedom to buy and build businesses. No, he represents the trillionaire asset manager class companies of the world: BlackRock, Vanguard, Brookside, State Street. You just follow the money.
He's on fire today. Blake is fired up, ladies and gentlemen. He's fired up. Hey, remember the thing with Bob Geldof, Lord Geldof, or Sir Bobby, and he's on the yacht, and they're on the Thames, and a bunch of the fishermen, because they're worried about their fishing rights, going to a bunch of Norwegians. Sorry, my buddy Even over in Norway. We love Even. But the whole thing, they're fighting for their financial lives, their fiscal survival through fishing industry. And you got Geldof giving them the bird. I mean, I don't know if it was the English one. Up your bums, peasants. And they're on their champagne yacht floating down the Thames with all their millionaires. And you got a bunch of working class blokes trying to make a living catching fish. Skip it for your fries, for your chippy. And it's unbelievable, the disconnect between these elites and what used to be rock and roll.
Rebellion, exactly.
There is no rebellion. They are the establishment. When it starts way back 65, the Beatles with their MBEs. I thought they'd drive a tank, and old soldiers went and threw stuff back there.
Well, 4D Man makes a good point there because in Bono's speech there, he does state the whole world. And it's like, I thought that exactly the same thing at 4D Man's when he said that, because I was going, who elected him as leader of the world? You don't represent the world, Bono. Just shut your mouth. You represent your own personal interests.
You know what's encouraging about the Bono speech, though, is the fact he says Canada stands as a beacon. It stands apart. Because he's watching in Europe, so many of these globalist fucking bankers are getting their asses handed to them. Their luggage is packed up and they're telling them where to go. So you got the lovely lady, I forget her name, out of Italy. You got Orban in Hungary. You've got a lot of these more right-wing. The Romanian thing, holy shit, a bunch of lawyers or judges in Romania, they tossed the election out, made them do it over so they could get their guy in. They didn't like the way it went. Democracy in action in 2025 in Europe. So it's a shit show out there. And going back to your point, Blake, about this thing, I think hands across the water, military alliances with Europe, we're too far away to be effective. I don't think Trump's going to allow for it. I think there's going to be hell to pay from our good friends south of the border. And Trump, again, he's got all the cards, and those cards are the financial clout that America's got, that they're still able to kowtow us into submission. Now, Europe, Trump threatened a 50% tariff, which is just devastating and crippling for Europe. He's delayed that because they cried to him and said, oh, don't forgive me. And he goes, okay, I'll hold off till July 29th for you. So, there's some date in there. I was trying to help the viewership get to double digits. Fail. It's not going to work that way. Don't even worry about it. We got 12 people watching. We're new. We're out of the gate. But we got problems here, Herc, and it's not just related to us. Sue, do you want to bring the CBC story?
Especially with Herc, I mean, come on. Elon Musk is one guy. You've got 4 major asset management companies in the multi-tens of trillions of dollars. That's who's controlling the world, not Elon Musk. Matter of fact, Elon Musk borrowed money from Brookside to get X. So Cardi supported him to do that. So the trillionaire asset managers are in charge, not one man who happens to be very wealthy. He just happens to side with humanity. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, some Romanian guy. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Welcome from England, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, I put this up on the X platform. Today's concerning story. Now, Blake, you and I are well saved because, we're struggling to get 5 people to watch our show, but we're having fun. You cannot hate the CBC enough. Targeting a small Canadian channel because it's conservative and doing well. Note, the cowards turn their comments off and I go, hashtag defund the CBC. And if you make that bigger, Sue, the little graphic, if there's any way you can make that big, yeah, that's what I want. So what you can see at the very bottom there about the little love heart, there's Scoozy, lower left-hand corner, you see a little love heart. Comments are turned off by who? The CBC News. How we shut down one of Canada's biggest news content farms. They don't like it. They don't like what's happening. It shows here, Real Talk Politics is a channel. It's been deleted off YouTube. 69,000 views compared to, I guess it's 69. What is that, million? I don't know what the hell we're looking at. I think 69 million versus CTV News with 66 million. Are you kidding me? They are kicking this shit. And this is what they fear the most. In the words of Elon Musk, we are the news now. But Blake, how concerning is it for you as a small content creator here with yours truly, when you've got a monolithic government founded to the tune of 137 mil they just got under Carney's auspices to go after channels like ours and shut the fuck out of these things and shut them down because they don't want this counter message to their narrative getting out there.
Yeah, well, that's the controlling the message, right? Through legislative actions like Bill C-69, that what they call the Online Harms Act in Canada, which Cardi is going to be pushing through with our favorite far left Marxist minister Guilbeault. But we've got, they're going to do it that way. But it wasn't just $160 some odd million they got. They got $600 million over the last 5 years from Trudeau. So that, again, is a Carney conduit because Carney was his policy advisor. So the fact is that the dinosaur media manages to maintain the propaganda arm because they represent the global financial interests of the world. And not collectively, but their interests, because there's a lot of financial interests going opposed to them. Yeah. And we talked about, people like Elon Musk and Trump, et cetera, MAGA business people that are fighting against it. But I think the reality is that Canada has been the staging ground, the practice ground for what they're trying to do in the rest of the world, because we are so easy to conquer. And we're limited on access because they make it very difficult for people to buy simple things. You don't even have internet choice. You and I know each other from back in the days when internet was just rolling out. Like we were buying, our own connection. And it'd be some local dude with his servers in his house and selling a dial-up connection.
Yeah, there was mom and pop operations.
Exactly, everywhere. So there was a diversity of access. Well, not anymore. Not in Canada. The Canada's method is to consolidate the power both in media, in communications. So that means they'll start to restrict our access to the internet, which means we could be cut off if we're not following the program that they want us to follow. And that's the risk that these guys do. So number one, the propaganda arm speaks to the donut heads out there that voted for the Liberals with their elbows up. And those donuts, they're the cheerleading crowd that says, yeah, take away their rights, take away their rights. The same people are saying right now, oh, watch out for the book burners because the book burners are dangerous. Really? You're coming after some people who don't want freaking porn books for little kids inside their libraries and being taught that stuff. That's considered book burning, but you're all in favor of stripping everybody of their rights to speak and write about things that are opposed to the agendas of this tyranny that we're seeing that's been formed in Canada. Canada's a staging ground.
They're all good with, what do you call that, drag queen story hour. Hey, also not just Canada, but you got to admit, Australia, if anybody, they got it. And that idiot out there in New Zealand, the poor Kiwis struggling under the burden.
Specifically Victoria. Where here, I think it's the state of Victoria is where Melbourne is where they've got some of the worst far left lunatics. So,
okay, CBC News had initially reached out to YouTube for comment on Real Talk Politics, the company's policies around content farms, and included an example of a video published. Real Talk Politics featured an AI altered Ronald Reagan. We all know Reagan, you can alter these things. Everybody knows it's fucking a thing, except for the bloody frickin' libtards out there don't know a bloody comedy if it fucking struck them in the face. Satire and humor has gone for broke when there's so much woke. Hang on, CBC is now policing YouTube channels for AI content and having them shut down. And that's exactly what they are doing. So,
yeah.
Content farm, whatever. The CBC is a government-owned, state-armed media propaganda arm. It has no business policing the fucking internet. Stay in your lane, CBC. You should be defunded. You take my money to pay to shut my own voice down. Talk about adding insult to injury, you motherfuckers.
Hey, Rachel, put up that link I just put in our chat there, the private chat, because that's exactly this meme says it all about the CBC in Canada. It's a great meme. A guy was responding to one of my posts and he put it up. You can show it.
All right. Let's see what we got here. I hope it's I hope it's safe for work. Yeah.
Oh, it's safe. Yeah.
All right. What do we got?
Yeah, get a full picture of that meme there. There's 3 levels to it.
Yeah, Roddy McDowell. Am I getting closer? get on your knees from the World Economic Forum is what it really says. Elbows up means get on your knees. That's from that 80s or 90s science fiction thing. Roddy
I think it was late 80s, yeah. With a Canadian. He's a Canadian too.
Well, he's a late great Canadian, Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper. He's gone now. So I'll make this smaller. So tell me what's the meme trying to tell us for those that don't know about memes and
in this situation, he's showing the elbows up. That if you ever saw the movie, I think it's called They Live.
Yeah,
and they're basically there's an alien race that's invaded the Earth for a long time.
Lizard people, folks.
Well, they're almost like skeleton type people when you see the movie. But yeah, essentially that's and so all the propaganda is all subliminal, and they were able to all the messaging from media on the radio to on the news, TV news, because they didn't have internet when this movie was made, but all the billboards. And when he got those special glasses, it would pull the veil back so you could see the propaganda all around, and he could see the aliens amongst them.
Yeah, what the real story is.
Yeah. So essentially, when you were talking about the media and how they propagate the messaging, that's essentially what we're seeing. You know, it's this nonstop barrage of messaging, which has a double meaning. It's saying we want you to think this way, but this is our actual real motive, right? So, you know, for Charles to say we're free, you know, if we're that's true north, strong and free, as true as it ever is, kind of speech he made today. And it's like, you're not. You're actually on your knees, because he also just said in his speech, you're on unceded land. You don't belong here.
Let's return to that, because I got another thing. There's a further information, further talk is evolving on this native parks issue. Do you want to grab that link, Sue, please? I want to thank Sue for doing all the heavy lifting. She gets me my water. I sound like Elvis, you know. I like to thank Charlie Hensman with towels. But, you know, I want to thank Sue hands me my water, and just makes this show go. Without her, we wouldn't be anywhere near doing anything. Thank you, Sue. All right. This is crazy, Blake. Check this. Caroline Elliott, quote, closures of BC parks to non-Indigenous visitors is a sign of things to come. I'm not encouraged by that. What the hell does that even mean? A sign of things to come. What is she intimating there? A sign of things to come. So now I can go to the park because I'm Incheon type, but you're not. It's okay for me. We got a colored fountain for you to drink your water from, Blake. No offense, but it's just we're not comfortable.
Well, I don't think it would be for you or any others, because it was only specific to the local nation with the rights to access to it.
We're going to be on the warpath again then.
Yeah. So I actually posted to that. Essentially what I stated, I'm just trying to find my tweet on that specific topic today, because it is a big concern that people have been warning about since the 1990s. In the 1990s, the first major decision that kind of led to this whole thing that we're rolling quickly down now, it started with the Galgamak decision, which basically was basically reaffirming or affirming native self-governance and rights, especially in unceded territories. And that began this process towards eventually UN DRIPA, which was done internationally. And then DRIPA being...
Yeah, tell the kids, because you know all the acronyms. Not everybody knows these acronyms about DRIPA. What does it stand for?
It stands for the Declaration of Indigenous... Oh, geez, I'm trying to remember it now off the top of my head.
Okay.
It's basically a form of truth and reconciliation.
Indigenous peoples, DRIP, and the A part, whatever. But
the UN part is the United Nations made the decision, and then British Columbia under David Eby passed a law called DRIPA. They just took the UN off, and actually there was no legal case that said that we had to respect the UN's law that they essentially created that would impact many different nations around the world, but specifically British Columbia. And then he created DRIPA, which basically mirrored the UN decision, which I'm going to point out, China was a big pusher of this. China, if they were in charge of British Columbia eventually and invaded here, do you think they would give a rat's you know what on First Nations sovereignty? No, you'd be out with the completely swept aside, probably massacred, and then removed completely. So that's kind of where it went. Yeah, Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People. So that declaration, if you read it, it's about unceded territories, joint decision making, essentially saying you're a sovereign nations within a nation. So it's so they're saying, Alberta, you can't be sovereign, but you know, First Nations can be all sovereign. So when the 1990s, there was warnings being laid out at that time. If we go down this path, we're going to be ending in the Balkanization. That was the language used, because Balkanization was what was happening in Yugoslavia, where you have, like in British Columbia, over 200 different First Nations competing for territory.
Yeah.
And when I say competing, it means you have overlapping claims over the lands. So who controls what and here and where, and it gets divided into this mess. And so essentially, they've paralyzed with this act anything moving forward, because you can't get anything done at a local level. Small mom pops will not be able to be involved, because essentially they've given power to large corporations who can grease the palms of chiefs and get what they want. Meanwhile, Rachel wants to start a little logging company or a little business somewhere, or own a piece of real estate somewhere.
I sure do.
You know, they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, you got to grease palms. I don't have $100 million.
Yeah.
Well, you're out, right? That's just basically how it's going to work. And it's locked up, our resource.
Now, I want to give a plug to Blake here, because Blake knows about these issues intimately, because Blake, working at Yale, had to deal in his profession in dealing with both the Stolo and Yale band peoples. And there were a lot of conflicting territorial claims between these two First Nations people for their territory. They fought like bastards for 600 years before Blake in Western Canada ever was a concept. And so these ancient territorial disagreements go on even into the current day. So it's not just all, Bono with his rose-colored glasses saying everything's so just wonderful with our globalist bankers. There is real stresses and conflicts between these peoples to this very day.
Well, what's interesting for Canada is Canada has mostly treated lands outside of British Columbia and a little bit in the Yukon and a little bit that crosses over into Alberta. But most places are treaty. So why is he saying Canada is unceded when we have treaties almost everywhere outside of really British Columbia? Is the only area that was never treated outside of the Douglas treaties around Greater Victoria. And even those have been challenged now. So it's basically saying all these treaties don't exist, throw them all out.
But I think the important thing here is the underlying realities of what all this means is that basically, folks, if you're a Canadian living on unceded land, that means that the land you're living on, even though you ostensibly own it and bought it and pay
Stop paying taxes. Stop paying taxes. Why don't we do that? There's a great point.
Yes.
So who owns the land? And if the native people owns it, well, maybe we shouldn't be paying taxes to Canada. Maybe we should be giving our beloved Indian friends money because they're the landowners. Who owns land if it's unceded? Somebody worked this out. So us poor settlers, and of course we went over this a few days ago, where the current premier, think governor, if you're an American, the governor of our territory, the premier of British Columbia, he's saying that his people were saying, it wasn't him per se, but his people were saying, oh, it's time to start referring to Whitey as a settler or passing through, kind of colonial visit, their friend, neighbor. You're not really.
They call it was one of our MLA or ministers, actually, no, an MLA for the BC NDP party,
the legislative assembly
of British Columbia called said, and for the white people, was their exact words,
White
for the white people who are described as, who self-describe as colonizers. It was interesting. She was of Southeast Asian descent, being Indian, true India.
Get
and she, and of course, she described herself as a settler.
Yeah, she's okay because she said it right. I love you, little East Indian friend.
and then, but the one I'm trying to figure out is, who are the uninvited? That was the other one. What are you trying to do here? You're calling us uninvited? Who are the uninvited?
And that sounds like a horror movie. The Uninvited. You thought it was safe. You were the uninvited. You know, a group of teenagers decide to camp out. The uninvited. Oh my God.
So I guess we could get back to, so in the 50,000 foot view, get back to Charles. So Charles, are you relinquishing the Crown's claim on Canada?
He should, yeah.
Come on, this is interesting. It's going back to our native friends. Everything's all become perfect and Indian-like. I gotta get me some buckskin.
I don't mind camping out. Let's go do big campouts again.
Go to a teepee and we'll just hang out and get some buffalo. We'll try and get them back.
Yeah, they're great hunters. I'm sure the lefties would love that, and PETA would be really happy. Let's go on a big buffalo hunt.
Poor Whitey. Sorry, Whitey. Sucks to be you. Hey, speaking of race politics, I mean, this race baiting, and ultimately, let's call it what it is. It's a bunch of fucking race baiting. Can you get this clip up of Basketball Jones here?
Basketball Jones!
I got the Basketball Jones. Oh, baby. Woo. Okay, here we go. I love this. This is one of our heroes. LeBron James says that he doesn't want nothing to do with white people. Can you imagine what if a white athlete said that? Can we play the clip a little bit?
Well, because China is paying his salary.
I don't believe that they want anything to do with I don't want it's me and my boys. I don't want nothing to do with white people. I don't believe that they want anything to do with I don't want it's me and my boys. I don't want nothing to do with white people. I don't.
All right.
What's the context behind that, though? In that, what's he referring to?
Probably Whitey's causing trouble again. But you know what? We've come a long way from Mean Joe Green. Remember Mean Joe Green?
Yeah, loved him. Pittsburgh Steelers.
And his little bottle of Pepsi, the little can of Pepsi, and the little kid. And the little kid, Joe, because Joe comes off the field. He's had a rough game. And Mean Joe Green goes walking by him. And the kids think, Mean Joe is ignoring me because I'm a little cracker kid. But then Joe turns to him and he goes, hey, kid. And he throws him his jersey, a little boy, Joe. And
I remember that.
Little boy and his hero of Mean Joe Green, and it was a beautiful world. Ebony and Ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on the keyboard. Oh, no, you go. Why don't we? So this was a time of great love with black and white. You know, they are precious in this sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. But now it's all, we got this, you know, I don't want nothing to do with white people. Like, okay, you know, say la vie. Ricardo Jimenez, Ricardo James, Ricardo, my political genius. Fact, America, we love America. And of course, Memorial Day, we just had Memorial Day. We thank all our veterans and those that have sacrificed, the highest sacrifice in serving for their nation. And those that come back maimed and injured and hurt, life-changing injuries. War is horrible. As the legend John Lennon once said, make love, not war. All we're saying is give peace a chance. War is over if you want it. So we do have that. Holy smokes. I hope one day whites will cease to be so repressed. Well, it's going to happen, but not in your lifetime. Right now, this is the time for all us colored folk. So sorry, Herc. Sucks to be you. In fact, I think Herc's, but wherever he's living is probably on my cousin's land there, Blake. Excited that we're going to get that land. We could just shovel off the little colonizer Herc from our turf there. Wonderful stuff. So, yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely unbelievable, right? 40 goes, you know, there is a Ray Milland ghost movie called The Uninvited. Ray Milland, we love him. I think
Sounds scary.
I think you and I saw that one, Sue, in our old movie night. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine some quote whitey celebrity athletes saying they want nothing to do with black people. They'd make new laws to screw that. That guy would be persona non grata.
Full cancellation. Yeah.
Full board. That would be a full court press. Holy smokes. We love our orange guy, Donald John Trump, the greatest president of our lifetime. But I guess you just love smoking Joe Herc. So, enjoy that Pelosi clap of condescension coming your way. Okay, let's see what else we got. Now we only got Blake for about 10 more minutes. Let's take a look at Doge again. Doge is always on my heart, on our mind. There's one called Doge there. So let's ride this thing out with Doge and see what's happening with Doge. We talked about this yesterday, and we told Pat we talked more about with the buffer effect with Trump working against this globalized messaging and mandate self-proclaimed by these bankers. Audiphilia, that's Anthony. The movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. The Uninvited. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony, we love you. Here we go. So this is really something. There's no voter fraud going on in this world, AGK. But what do you think of this? Doge has removed 12 million people. This is unbelievable. There's a Doge. This is from Doge Department of Government Efficiency. Removed 12 million Democrats. I'm going to guess they were voting Democrat people over 120 years old from Social Security database. That number is it's unbelievable. 12. I cannot even conceive of 12 million. That's
it could be that we've heard about all these secret military funds that were used for CIA operations, where they would funnel dark money to go do things, and that would be one way they could have done it too. So it may be Dems who were in charge, but the point is that it could be dark money. They used it as a conduit to funnel money into in these efforts to buy guns and sell them to bad guys.
You know what? Here's another interesting reality about how they funnel money. One of the ways, a lot of people may not know this, but one of the way they do it is by writing a book. They publish a book. Nobody reads the fucking thing, but suddenly because you got the New York Times is with you, they put it on the bestsellers list. They just plunk it there. It automatically becomes a bestseller. But then, like 2 weeks later, it's in the discount bargain bin for 98 cents. And when you go in, I'll just finish the thought. You go into chapters in Canada, Barnes & Noble's U.S., you cannot find a book by Donald Trump other than, the one he did long before he was president, right? Art of the Deal. But you can get Michelle Obama. You can get the Kamala Harris book, the James Comey book, what's the little walrus mustache fucker? The warmonger little shit, the Republican.
Oh, Bolton,
John Bolton's book. All these idiots, and you see them, in this. All there, Obama's got his book, Michelle's got hers, and it's you just your brain goes, what the hell is with all this? And they don't sell because who the fuck is buying this shit? Even the libtards that show up here don't buy it, because they have no interest in it.
Well, they don't have any money apparently because they're all living in their new state-owned buildings. And
I like this. They were redundancies from a data.
They rent them.
Okay, how do you respond to this comment? They're just redundancies from a data system. It's no longer active. So those are just make-believe. They weren't active. Nobody was using them. Hey, Herc?
We actually do get our news from Bozo the Clown. It's called CNN, CBC. You go through all the bozos that are running the national media.
Hey, Mark Levin, I got to tell you about Mark Levin. He's an interesting cat. I watch him. He's got problems as well. He's kind of, he moves in. He's a little more of the neocon kind of crowd, more so. There's some disagreements I have with him. despite his popularity. But
I think because of his, he has a bias, obviously.
That's an outdated software problem, not fraud. If it's being used to access and if it's still operating, it's a weakness that can be exploited for fraudulent purpose. Is that even conceivable, or is that not even possible, Marty? Let me know in the comments.
And was money sent to those accounts, and who cashed those checks?
Did money get sent to those accounts? We heard that. What was it? One of these Democrat congresswomen was admitting that her mother's, they were receiving checks from her dead mom for the last 3 years or some bloody thing. I forget who that one was. Let me look that up. Crockett, I think it was. Crockett. Old security check. Check. Let's see what we got. I think it was, okay. Oh, wow, yeah. Okay. Well, she's gone after Trump and all this stuff. But anyway, I think it was her. It's what is her name? She is. Let me get her full name. Crockett. I don't even know. What does anybody know her? Oh, Jasmine for us. Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Oh my God. She suggests Thomas Matthew Crooks was not considered a threat, resulting in almost assassinating Trump because he was male and white. She claims that American black people are blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just more race baiting from these clowns. But Rachel, there are no 120-year-olds collecting Social Security. It was debunked months ago. Another scam for the moron cult. That's your take on it.
That's Occupy Democrats. Yeah.
The point is if those names are there, if that is existing, same with dead voter rolls. So we've got, there's another guy, Tom Fitton, and his organization constantly cleaning up voter rolls where people that moved in, people showing, and we've seen this before, where they get money from dual sources of income because they're at one address, they move to the other, and they get two voting tickets so they can go in and vote in both locations. So, I beg to differ with that. That's just a lamestream telling you what you should believe about it. And I'm saying if they're there and if they exist, then that's a weakness to me that can be exploited. Don't you agree, Herc, that there could be some kind of exploitation on that?
And it could have been from the rhinos too.
Yeah.
We don't know. Right.
You see, what you guys consider debunked, we never considered debunked. Okay, you guys and your 51 security agents, top of the best in the line, saying that the Biden laptop's all Russian disinformation. Turns out you fuckers were wrong. We just have to wait you out, and every time we do, it turns out you're wrong. Okay. We got 40. I had to check this out, make sure I could put it up here. Oddly, yesterday, YouTube allowed my comment on, Russell Brand show. Starmer is destroying the country day by day, brick by brick. YouTube protocol is hard to second guess. As bent as a Robert Maxwell pension plan. Holy smokes. Yeah. Okay. And we got something coming in now. This is going to be interesting. Let's take a look what we got. There's nothing more important we can do as Americans to protect your Social Security and then get rid of the criminals that are stealing it. The incredible, the wonderful, the glorious represent Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just love her. Your benefits are safe. Doge has found over 9.9 million people wrongfully drawing Social Security. Doge protects benefits like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security from criminals who steal taxpayer dollars. I'd like to hear the lovely lady for a bit. Do you want to play that for a little bit, Scoozy? I'd love it.
Then I'm sure you support Elon. Okay. Oh, yeah. Why is MTG supporting Musk and Doge and the slashing of Medicaid, Social Security offices, libraries, and more? This is outrageous from Sarah. Well, Sarah, unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. And, a lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better. because I showed you a video in the beginning. I wish you could have seen the whole clip of Barack Obama literally talking about what we call today Doge. And so, Sarah, if you supported Barack Obama as your president, which I'm sure you did, then I'm sure you support Elon Musk and Doge as well. Now, as far as Medicaid, Social Security, libraries, and more, what we're doing is we're removing waste, fraud, and abuse, and there's nothing more important we can do for you as Americans to protect your Social Security than get rid of the criminals that are stealing it. We have to make sure that we protect Social Security. We're not cutting Social Security. We're not cutting Medicare. This was a promise from President Trump and Republicans like myself on the campaign trail, and we will live up to that promise, and no one has lost their benefits.
All right, great stuff from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I just love the dear lady. Now, Blake, we only got you for 3 more minutes, but we got this. Rachel has violated Geneva Convention, and this is my buddy Paul, and he's just yelling at me. What did I do? Let's find out. They forced a VC member to listen to the boxer by Simon Garfunkel more than once is true. I love Simon Garfunkel. But
Convicted.
I'm guilty as charged. Holy smokes. You know, I tell you, Blake, when I'm not out there bleaching my asshole, I'm out there listening to Simon and Garfunkel and, of course, Bruce Springsteen. Holy smokes, Paul, you're bringing the heat. And Herc's just shattered. He's unbelievable. I can't believe what he's just heard. But yeah, I mean, that is fantastic. Blake, well, let's wrap her up for today because you got to head out to your meeting in 3 minutes. So final word to you on today's show. Carney, Canada, vis-a-vis the message. Is it going to stand? Is Trump going to allow it? What are we going to see?
Well, I'm just going to say this. Canada is in a 3-way tug of war right now. And when I say 3-way, it's EU, WF types. It is the United States who wants to bring us in part of a North American Union with them, and then China on the other side. And
I'm counting for it.
Sadly, China has infected a lot of what we do. And sadly, a lot of those WF types out of the EU want to see a Chinese-style social credit banking system for the world. And it is a banking system. It's about the money to control behavior and control what you can do. And I think that's where we're at. We're at that crossroads. Canada has to make a decision. Who do we want to be partners with in this world?
Do we actually have a say in it? I don't think we do.
I don't think that, well, I mean, they're saying we don't have a say because we don't have a land. Because we're a post-national state. And now they're telling us we don't have land under our feet. It belongs to other people.
It's our friends from our native First Nations friends. Oh.
So essentially, I actually think we have probably a great partnership if it was done strategically with First Nations people where we could overthrow those powers if they're actually saying what they're saying. And simply by coming to some kind of agreement where
with
all rights are equal and land.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the only people who are fighting about land rights are natives, are the First Nations people. Well, the rest of Canada is like, well, property rights is a privilege. So no, the native people are right. It is a right. It's an inherent right, and an inherent right to self-governance. So it means every individual should be able to self-govern. Very libertarian. Let's go that way.
I want to thank Blake for being here today. He's got to rush off to a meeting that is 12:55 on the dot right now, Blake. And but I want to thank everybody for being here. Please give us a thumbs up on the program and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I want to thank our liberal pals for showing up today. Always good to see you characters, you crazy bunch. Later today, also, I have a Patreon on my channel. So later today, you can catch me on my Patreon. It's on Ghost too. It's a whole different channel. Do you want to throw that out for the kids while we're doing the business here? And make sure that if you want, throw $5 my USD my way. Don't accept Canadian money. We don't want that. We just want a real solid greenback $5 USD. It works. Marty, we love you. It's so good to see you. Herc, we love you. Paul, the Breakfast King, the legend that is the Breakfast King. All good guys. I know I'm in a whole different world with my world of music and everything, which I just love. And but yeah, it's really interesting to see what's happening. There is this tug of war, like Blake says. My opinion, Canada, the people don't really have a say in it. We seem to have governments that are elected that no one really calls for. We've got a divided population, the popular vote, even this last election, and even with some of the recounts, surprisingly, they couldn't even wrangle all those, and some of them actually went to Conservatives. Thank you, boys and girls. We'll see you tomorrow. Is tomorrow Wednesday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow Wednesday, we're going to see you for the big show at 3 o'clock.
3 p.m.
No 12 o'clock show tomorrow. It's 3 o'clock Pacific, all times Pacific. I'm going to make sure I put the schedule up in the description of the channel for future viewing. Thanks, everybody, for being here. 40, I love you, everybody. You're great, man. I really appreciate all the support. Take care.